just setting everything up and getting ready. Okay, so we will go ahead and get started.
Hi, Bill.
Okay.
Hello.
So hello, everybody. Welcome. I am Aaron Whitberger. I am Vice President of Professional Development for the Bluegrass IIBA chapter. Welcome to this session of BAs on the Street. We are happy to have you with us. So today we have our BA on the street or in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, Stephanie Hawkins.
Hello, everyone.
So Stephanie is in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Are you in Michigan or Florida right now?
Right now I'm in Florida. I'm heading back to Michigan in about a month.
Okay, you actually work in Michigan.
Yes.
And that, so did that. Oh, the first message I put out there didn't send, so finally hit send on it. But if you would, if you haven't done so yet, say hi in the chat and tell us where you were joining us from. We'd like to know where. I think most of us are here in Kentucky. So, Ines, hey, I see Ines out there. So you said you knew Ines.
Yes.
So
Yes. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Fine. Thank you so much. How are you?
I am well. I'm so glad to see you, or somewhat see you tonight. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. It's my pleasure to join you anytime.
Yes, I was telling Aaron about the excellent opportunity I had to support a training class for your Saudi Arabia chapter for IIBA, and
Yes.
how excellent and fulfilling it was. And when I saw your name on the list, I was very excited to share that you would be here today and joining us.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity actually that we did all together, me, you, and George, and the rest of the team. And actually, I learned a lot from you guys, and I appreciate the information that I got from you. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for having me in the meeting.
Well, thank you for being here and welcome, Ines. So
thank you so much,
everybody. So our BAs on the street is just a casual conversation with a BA that is involved with the Bluegrass IIBA chapter, or maybe not. Just to have a conversation, see what's going on in their world and what the BA world looks like to them. So we're going to start off that, with Stephanie. If you'd like to tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and get everybody to know you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Aaron, and thank you everyone for having me tonight. I was telling Aaron, and I tell people I'm an introvert, so I had to write up who I am in order to prepare for this, which is, I would think, kind of like a BA type of thing, right? Like current state and then future state on who I am going to be on this call. So I'll start with that. So I'm not, first off, I'm Stephanie Hawkins, and I am a happy member of the IIBA Bluegrass chapter. And I am an IT professional, but I consider myself a hidden BA. And I didn't know that I was actually a BA until much further into my career. And when I stumbled upon the fact that this was actually a role that I was continuing to do no matter what job I had, I really started to embrace the BA community and what it means. And what I mean about that is like, from an IT perspective, I started in IT back in the 90s, and I didn't actually start in IT. I started out as accounting. I went to school to get an accounting degree, and I was working at a local company. It was a large wholesale auto dealer. And this was back in the day when you had standalone PCs, which kind of makes me feel embarrassed to say that, but it's true. And was working on the accounting system, and we had payroll. There were 300 plus employees that we were manually tracking the hours that they worked, different hours, different pay rates. We're like, there's got to be a better solution for this. And so I was asked to try to come up with an original idea, how to enable the organization to input payroll in a much better fashion so that way they could do a weekly payroll. So current state, future state, looked at the rationale for it and was able to come up with a badging solution using a B&H video camera company and a few other things to cobble together this way to take pictures and do badging and scan it in. Now there's lots of sophisticated systems. So I kind of look back at what I did back then and like, okay, it was great then, but no one would purchase it today, put it that way. But what happened from that was I was asked to say, hey, can you look at the entire organization instead of pulling away from accounting and really look at what we could do as a company. And like I said, it was a wholesale dealer auction. They had auctions where hundreds of cars would run through in a very quick fashion where, people are bidding on them and paperwork is going and auto titles are flying out the door. And what we could do to automate it, meaning there was a couple standalone PCs, you had people running around with paperwork, people all over the place doing things. And so leveraging BA skills, I was able to figure out what we were doing, where we could go, articulate that back to the stakeholders, figure out visions and get funding and budget, and just the whole spectrum of what you would do as a BA. But I did that as an IT person, actually as an accounting person, pretending to be an IT person who was really doing a BA role. So after that, part of what I found from that exercise and all of the work that it took is that the part that I loved most about that activity was not finding weird ways to pull together technology, but was the interaction with people and really trying to understand what do they do, how do they do it, and how can you make it better? How can you give them a better product in the short term, like a minimum viable product, as well as the long term? And so continuing with my IT experience, I moved on to do work in credit unions, helping to build out their IT infrastructure, helping them to be audit compliant. And the same thing, like, what do you need? Where are we going? And what does that mean? And whether it was like an Agile or a Waterfall methodology, just being a hidden BA. And so many years later, I work at a healthcare trust in IT, but still doing BA work. So that's kind of the essence of where I've come. I've always been that hidden BA in the IT shell.
Okay, well, we'll take hidden. I've heard hybrid before, but hidden, okay. So sounds very interesting and that. So now I see on your profile and everything, it says IT risk and controls.
Yes.
So is it, you mentioned compliance, is that what you do? Is it just strictly payroll, or what kind of things are you involved?
Nope. Well, honestly, I put payroll in that back in the archives of my professional career, and I went from accounting and into credit unions in the financial space, being like a ACH professional, being the IT solutionist, the IT VP of IT. And then I migrated into auditing. When I was getting a master's degree in information assurance, computer security, one of my instructors was teaching out of Walsh College in Troy, Michigan. And after you have many classes with different instructors and different types of things, he encouraged me to think about being an auditor for General Motors. And so I was always very much about controls based. Everything you do from a process perspective is really, it includes controls, right? What is your risk? What are your controls layered on with the processes, your risk appetite? And so for a couple of years, I went and worked at General Motors in IT audit. And then I flipped back into a true traditional IT role at the company that I work for, which is a healthcare trust. And we provide healthcare benefits for GM, Ford, and Chrysler hourly retired employees. So at the onset of my working there, I just celebrated my 9th year. At the beginning, we had about 850,000 retirees. Now it's, a couple hundred less as attrition goes on, they're retirees. And the mission of the trust is to provide healthcare, right, at benefits for them, improve their quality of life.
Okay.
Yeah, and so long story short with that is I spanned from starting there for data governance to going over to the investment arm, where I was a senior manager for investment applications, helped implement all of the investment solutions that we have in place today. And then just about 2 months ago, I was pulled back into IT, the IT organization, even though I worked for them, in a IT risk and controls job to help with compliance, help implement an ERM program, establish more controls within the environment with a focus on, worried about cybersecurity and all of that type of thing. So leveraging my process and my BA skills from all of that and pulling it into what I'm currently doing.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. And Cassandra's echoing you in the chat that she's had the same career in that. She says 10 years in IT at IBM. So it sounds like she can relate to that. So
right. And that's why I say it's like a hidden BA. It's like I've done different things, all of it leveraging that core skill set of what you've learned or what you practice. And I've tried to not do the same thing forever and try to keep freshening my skill set and trying to learn something new and just try to do the best that I can for the company that I'm working for.
no, excellent in that. So you've also mentioned you do report to IT now.
Yeah, I report to the Chief Information Technology Officer. We have about 50 CITO. She couldn't be the CIO because the trust has a CIO, a Chief Investment Officer, so she got to be the CITO. And we're a tight-knit group of people. There are about 17 of us across a broad spectrum supporting the organization, and it's a good team to work for in the fact that they respect people's various backgrounds, and as well as because we're not super huge organization, we're about 150 people. I have the opportunity to not only put on my compliance hat and work on risk and controls, frameworks, and policies, which I love to write, by the way. But I also have the opportunity to continue doing some of the work that I've been doing before, meaning I still get to help with software development projects. I still get to be the help with implementations, third-party vendor analysis. So I still have a little bit of that, as well as some of the new opportunities. So for me, it makes it nice because I don't get to lose some of the skills that I had before. I just continued to use them and hone some other skills.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Yeah, Bill says funny, and we all seem to have the similar background.
I know. So all of you are hidden BAs too?
Not so much a hidden BA, that's my job title now, and that. But I often told people that I got my CBAP before I ever held the title of business analyst.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, I mean it's during that time, the first 20 years of my career, in that I was that hidden BA, and that I didn't realize I was doing business analysis, but yeah, I was working with stakeholders, I was defining need, I was defining
right.
I was doing all of that and not knowing that it was called business analysis.
Right.
So, yeah,
right.
So fully can understand in that. So,
right.
Excuse me. So, do you work in an agile environment, a waterfall, somewhere between? Do you have a preference to which one?
I actually have a preference, and I'll answer the first one. So our PMO, we have a smaller PMO, and part of our IT team is IT PMO. And so I typically will run my own smaller projects or have somebody come in and help. So you're doing a PM and maybe a BA and other aspects of that smaller projects, still following the PMO methodology, right sizing it based on like the level of effort and the risk and all of that. And so our methodology is currently based, like when you look at the true structure, it's waterfall all day, every day. But what I bring in, or what we are enriching, is taking that Agile methodology for some of these smaller efforts, and also some of the larger ones now too, where Agile will work. We've found that, both work well depending on what you're doing. But in some of the cases where you're really trying to, especially in software development or software enhancement, application enhancement, having that Agile approach really, really helps. For one thing, if you're not marketing to an outside company where you have a team of developers saying, okay, here's the vision, here's what we want, and signing off, but you're working with people and trying to understand their needs, what their problems are, what you can help to solution. A lot of people may not have the understanding of what they truly want. They know their problem statements and some of these other things, but they can't really articulate as well until they see something. So using Agile, and you're able to iterate and do smaller approaches, understand their needs, show it to them, articulate it, they can give you feedback and keep working. We've been able to successfully deploy products quicker, faster, sooner for their enhanced needs without waiting too long and them getting in paralysis, meaning, okay, if I have one bite at the apple, and if I don't get it right, I'm not going to get what I need, and I'm also going to be kind of embarrassed because I've been working on this so long, I should know what I want. So I leverage that approach as much as I can on the things that I work on to give them that MVP, that minimum viable product. And I have a couple projects I'm working on right now still that I got pulled into from my past experience because of the knowledge of the system, but just the approach that we as a team are taking to try to, do those time box enhancements. So I like Agile, I like Waterfall, but I'm a BA girl in an Agile world, I guess. I had to say that.
Yeah,
I had to say that.
just don't sing it.
I won't sing it. To anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, okay, this is my ongoing joke with Aaron. He had, and I'm trying to think of, she was such a nice lady.
Mindy Bohannon.
Yep, last year there was a chapter meeting where it was be a girl in an Agile world, and then throughout the presentation she would sing that little iteration of it. And of all the ones that I've attended, that meeting has stuck in my brain.
It was the Barbie tune.
It really was.
Had a bunch of the little Barbies, Skipper, and all those little Barbie figurines on her slide deck and all of that. She sang it. I mean, she was full of energy during that thing, and I really enjoyed that thing too. And she had quite a few of the audience singing that.
Yes.
I'm a BA girl in an Agile world.
So I can equate to that, but I don't sing well, and I'm certainly not going to force anybody on this conversation to sing it unless you really feel compelled to. And if you want to, feel free.
Yeah.
Break
So
into
if you want to see it, we still have the promo. It's a very short, minute and a half. I don't know what it is. Little promo that we had before that meeting where she was out there, giving us a promo of the topic she was going to talk about, and she sings that part of that little tune. So if you want to see her, it's Mindy Bohannon. She's from the Washington D.C. area, Virginia, and that kind of thing. So she was delightful.
She was delightful. And not to promote IIBA, but I'd like to do that. So I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it with my background, but the Agile Analysis certification with the 3 horizons, the strategy, initiative, and delivery. I'm surprised at how often I go back and kind of look at, because I took the class, and how many times I go back and look at that to really just solidify that. So I have embraced not only using Agile, but also leveraging IIBA's guidance and materials to really take it to that next level. I found it's been very helpful. So just a promo for anybody who's interested in doing that. I highly recommend it if you live in an Agile world or trying to get there, because it is very beneficial.
And if you want that study guide, we can get it for you.
There you go. Like I said, I had mine on my desk.
And first of all, Bill is with us out there in in the thing, and he just recently got the Agile Analysis certification. So, congratulations.
Applause.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you very much.
And so you should be next, Stephanie. But you bring up a good point. You know, you learned from going through that class and studying, and I'm sure you're using that stuff in your daily work, and that you don't necessarily have to go get the certification now. And that's, in my opinion, the value of those certifications. It's not the piece of paper or the 3 or 4 letters you get to put after your name or anything like that. It's the learning, you know,
Right.
the true value of that. I know when I got the certification, the AAC Agile Analysis certification, I was working on an Agile project, one of the first ones at my current company that I was working with. And one of the techniques I learned in there really taught me, and I took it back immediately and started using that. And, you know, it really helped that initiative go on and everything. So it added value like immediately.
Right. Yeah. And there is so much value with it. And two, it's like, you know, when you pick up Agile, whether you go through it formally or that's just you work in it in that environment, or you try to work in that environment, anything that you can find within the class or just interacting with people during the classes or otherwise is really helpful. And for me, what I found was interesting was just the recognition that, you know, Agile is a mindset. It's not practices and all these types of things. And so it gave you that freedom to feel like you can move forward and do the right thing without missing, like being a controls-based person, am I missing like some tick in some documentation box or some other thing that I should do to follow a PMO methodology? And it freed me up to focus more on the customer and on the business stakeholders and still do the proper paperwork, the traceabilities and all of that people are very much focused on, I think sometimes from a waterfall perspective, where it's like, I have to tick each box and allowed you to expand and to be able to deliver to the customer, because it's all about thinking like a customer. I mean, and it says one of the basic principles is think like a customer. So, and which is, if you're doing development work or trying to solution something for somebody, that really truly is the mindset that you need to have, is think like a customer, but still put on your compliance and other controls hat to ensure that whatever they get still meets what it should be and expectations, but their needs as well.
Yep, absolutely. And you covered a couple of tenets of the Agile Manifesto in that. You know, we value customer relationships over contracts.
Right.
You know, value working software over documentation.
Right.
You know? So, you know, just a couple aspects of the Agile Manifesto is covered by that as well.
Right. And I think that for me, when you ask, do I have a preference? It's definitely, I mean, I don't mind paperwork. I do that for a living, but the customer doesn't care if I finished RTM or requirements traceability matrix. I mean, they don't literally care. They want me to do my work, but they care more about, did I hear them? Am I meeting their needs? Am I able to understand, articulate that, and give them solutions or help them whatever along? I mean, that's the more important thing when you're thinking like a customer and customer focused.
Okay. All right. So Bill, I think those congratulations out there in the chat box are for you.
They're not for me.
Yeah, you know, I have to say one thing about taking the exam is I agree, it's not necessarily that you get the letters of the piece of paper, but for me, it forces you to take in the information like in an unfocused way, because you know that you're going to be measured. And so to me, that's kind of what makes the difference. It was the same thing with the CBAT. You know, it's all about, you can take the class, but sometimes your mind wanders, sometimes you don't take it all in, sometimes you miss something. But if you're taking the exam and you know you're measured, you are going to go back and you are going to study it. You're going to study the material, and you're gonna learn the concept, because it's not so much just knowing the material, it's understanding it and utilizing it. But for the Agile, it is definitely about changing your mindset.
Right. I agree. It's also nice too, not to plug the Bluegrass chapter or IABA as a whole, but you want me to go ahead? Okay, I'll do it, because I truly feel this way. It's not a plug. It's sincere. It's just like, the community of people in talking and working in engaging in these various types of meetings, whether it's this BA on the street or, congratulating Bill and in knowing that there are teammates, fellow people that, if you have a question or if you need help studying or you have some other thing, there's a mechanism and a means, and it's always the friendliest way and most positive way possible. So it's not I have to go study and I have to go find somebody to learn something with. It's almost like it's self-fulfilling, right? I'm going to go learn something and I'm going to meet some great people and feel like I have like a support system along the way as you're doing it. And plus learning great new tips and tricks. I learn something new every single meeting that I attend from somebody that engages or says something. And so it's a win situation.
Well, good. I'm glad we make you feel that way. I hope many of the others that are on the session here, Dolores, Isis, Bill, Retta, many of you are chapter members in that, and I hope you say and feel the same way. So, Stephanie, you are a chapter member.
Yes, I am.
You are joining our chapter leadership team here very soon. Going to come on our board of directors as a vice president of community outreach and that. But outside of that chapter leadership and that, where do you put, and you probably just answered this, but where do you put the value of membership?
I put it very high because, all of us are busy, right? You have family, you have work, you're probably working more now during the, work remotely and all of that. And so, your time is valuable. And so when I come and when I attend and participate and interact, first off, it's positive. It's always, people are always super friendly and nice, but also too, it's meaningful. I can contribute, and also I get so much out of it. If I have free time, the first thing I do is go out and look at the website and see what's coming up, and if I have time to participate in what I can do to it. So it's not just I have a monthly chapter meeting and I belong to an organization and it looks good on my resume, or I could talk to somebody about it. It's like, it's like this chapter makes it like not a lifestyle, but an activity. I'm going to get something out of it. Hopefully I can give something back, and I can continue to learn and meet new people. And two, it's like this chapter has done a lot of outreach to not just Kentucky, because I'm not from Kentucky, right? And I'm certainly not from San Francisco. But you meet so many great people and you learn so many new things. So for me, it's, I don't know how much more to say because then it's going to sound too effusive. Plus, I was super proud to be part of a chapter that won the 2020 Chapter of the Year last year. So congratulations to this chapter.
Thank you.
So, hey, I'm a newbie. You guys have been doing this for a long time, and look at what you created. It's impressive.
Yeah, and one of the reasons we did win that is that we have really, expanded upon beyond Kentucky. And
Right.
like I said, many of the people that are here today, David and Isis and Ann, Bill, they are in Kentucky. Retta is in Wisconsin. We saw Mayor is in London, UK. And he's been at a few of our meetings lately. One of our chapter leaders is in California. I'm not sure how close to the Golden Gate Bridge and that, but but we can reach from east to west, north to south, and that kind of thing. Our study groups have attracted international students for over 3 years. So we've been at this for quite a while, and we're seeing success. And that my chapter no longer exists. Come join us, John Claude. You have a chapter now.
Welcome.
You know, be with it. You said you were in New York. New York used to have 4 chapters, so should be something there for you. But if not, look at our website and see what you want to come. We're going to have events like this. And actually, Stephanie and I were talking earlier today. We're dreaming up something new, new type of event for you all to participate in and come and see us. And it's strictly social and going to be a fun thing. Rochester has closed. You're right in that. So we're at. So come back, join us in that. Our annual general meeting is next Wednesday. If you really want to find out about who we are, what we do, and that kind of thing, we'll talk about the last year and what we're planning for next year in our 6 program areas. So that's a good way to really do that. Can you accept me from Saudi Arabia? Yes, we absolutely can. We have, I can't give you an exact number of how many international members we have. We have 2 in India. One of our great members is in Morocco. And we got somebody from Maui. So, we used to have a lot in Canada. We're down to 1 in Canada. And we lost all of those because of the IIBA harmonization and that. So, but we're not here to talk about the chapter or anything. NS, if you don't have a chapter in Saudi Arabia, feel free to join us. And one of your friends is here with us now, and you can join the chapter with her.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to open up the floor, and if anybody wants to ask any questions, of Stephanie, about what's going on in the world, how you're feeling, feel free. You can either ask in the chat box there, and I can feed the question to Stephanie, or you can unmute yourself and ask her with your own voice.
Or you can give me tips and tricks.
So I said earlier, you don't have to go and get the certification. It's the learning experience of going through a study group and that. But when are you going to go get that Agile certification?
Soon. I paid for it.
You have?
I have.
I'm the actual one, and
yes. It's
okay.
just a little bit more time. I was a little busy at work lately with my job transitioned. It was taking a little bit longer than I had thought, but not complaining. I have a job and I like what I do, so no complaints.
Okay. All right. So Dolores and Ian both recently got back. So they can get the Agile one next if they wish. So any questions from the audience? Anything you want to know?
Oh, this one's for you.
There seems to be a lot of BA open positions on LinkedIn in the Cincinnati area. Does that seem to be a national trend? I'm not absolutely sure. Certainly there are across the United States, and I'm sure in other countries as well. Whether it's growing or not, in any particular area, I really can't tell. But you're right. I have seen those, and I get, even though I'm not looking for a job or anything, I still get emails from a couple of recruiting firms or job boards that are out there, that I just never have shut down, just to kind of stay in tune with the job market type thing. And so I see those out there and that kind of thing. So yeah, it is certainly pretty large in Cincinnati. We could see some in Lexington. I don't think it's that large, but Cincinnati is much larger than Lexington is. In fact, Louisville is larger than Lexington. Neither one of them is capital of the state. Frankfurt is our capital, actually, which is kind of right in between Lexington and Louisville. But Louisville is the largest city in the state, and that. So I don't know, Bill or Isis, if you know what the job market is there.
I believe it's happening. I mean, my thought is when it comes to business analysis, and I've said this all along, is that I don't know how it couldn't be happening when we're a global market now and companies have to compete globally. Really, one of the only ways you can do that is with efficiency.
Mhm.
And anything that you can do that is going to help guarantee, or not necessarily guarantee, but if you can increase the chances of success in projects, then it's something that every company, I think, would have to look at. It's the only way that we're going to compete nationally or globally. So yeah, there's lots of jobs out there.
Yes. Yep. Okay. In fact, Cassandra, said that Tech Systems suggested she reach out to us, when she was in the job market and that. So she reached out to us and is going to get involved with our chapter, hopefully. In that. So, Maynard, what skills do you need as a BA for the future? You need to develop for the future? Come Wednesday night, find out. Wednesday night, as I said, is our AGM. We are also the only chapter that has a Hall of Fame, and we induct a class every year. It's always been 2 or 3 individuals, and this will be our 6th class. There are currently 11 people in our Hall of Fame. It's called the Bluegrass Business Analysis Hall of Fame. We are inducting 3 more this year, but we're starting out our annual general meeting, or our meeting that evening, next Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. We have Elizabeth and Rich Larson, both of them, coming to present the 5 skills that'll be needed for BAs, in the near future. And now, don't tell them, but we are luring them to the meeting to induct into the Hall of Fame. So
You slide W.
put this out, put it on YouTube listening to this. But yeah, we've set this up, and they'll get a nice plaque and that kind of thing, and all of that. So you have to be nominated from the community, and that kind of thing. We also have one of the BA managers at Humana in Louisville that is going in this year, and that kind of thing. But we are starting out the meeting with a nice 30-minute presentation from the Larsons. They're great presenters in that, and they're going to tell us what skills they see BAs will need for the near future. So come and join. That's going to be pretty late for you, Maynard, but come join us anyway. I have a question, Stephanie.
I will try. Yes. Thanks, Aaron.
Okay. From your experience, how do you manage stakeholders? As I understood that you dealt with different types of stakeholders.
Human nature, that's always the easiest question to answer. Say that facetious. Like, what I have learned over the years is that first off, never underestimate stakeholder, and never assume that you know what a stakeholder is thinking. So typically, when I throw it away with any assumptions based on any bias, unconscious or otherwise, I typically make, as you do, like a matrix of who's involved, like who's your stakeholders, what are people's roles. I try to interpret based on where they're in the organization, who's on the project team, who's involved in all of that, what really their role may be. I mean, they may have a title, but their role within it would be different. And then the interactions between the people, if I could try to dissect who reports to whom, what their interactions are, then I have a better chance of understanding my stakeholders. Because a lot of times you may have worked with this person on a prior project or another time, but how they behave or how they act may be different based on who they're with, who they're reporting up to, what kind of stake that they have in the game. And so by trying to put together that matrix of my own matrix, not necessarily shared to others of what that is, then I can try to work in a conscious fashion and respect their position or what they're trying to do or their role within it. And I've yet to learn how to truly handle stakeholders. And if anybody has a magic, a secret recipe for it, love to have it. But I'm becoming more successful in dealing with it. And like I said, never assume and never underestimate what's going on in somebody else's life, in the organization, things that you have no clue that definitely impact what you're doing in that.
Yeah. I was in a Agile class and the instructor asked, why is Agile so hard? And it just, out of reflex, I go, because people were involved.
Yeah.
So, and that's what it is. I mean, doing the ceremonies or doing system updates or enhancing a system, that's easy stuff. Dealing with people, that's really what makes it difficult.
Right. And one final note on that is a long time ago, when I was first in college, I had taken a basic leadership management class. And in it, our instructor, we spent most of the semester taking apart situations, identifying who the stakeholders were, whether persons should stay or go based on the situation. And it really helped solidify in my mind, like there are lots of situations that you cannot control and you either, shut up or move on. So when you're in a project, take that same lesson of saying, there are situations that you can't control. You may want a positive outcome. You just have to figure out how to deal with it, and understanding human nature and the relationships to the best that you can is your best recourse. And then follow, of course, the guidance and the principles, methodologies to help guide that.
Well, ISIS is agreeing with us. So Mayor wants to know, with so many Agile certifications out there, do you feel the IIBA's AAC will be as recognizable as the CBAP?
I think personally, it depends on the avenue in which you're going. I mean, the CBAP is definitely much harder to get and much more experience in it. But if you're in a different avenue of it, it's a good, I guess, not skill set, but I wouldn't shy away from getting any or all of them, quite honestly. If you can obtain it and you have the experience. And we'd like the CBAP, that takes a little bit of time. I mean, start out, ECBA, just keep moving up and then bolt them all on. And I mean, you won't regret getting any of them, because no matter, I mean, you may not today use them, but certainly like from my career, whatever I've learned along the way just expands that skill set and makes you more versatile and better opportunity to be successful, or at least make it through situations, or help to deliver things that, not every project is amazing, right? We've all had projects that, you walk away and you're like, phew, made that out alive, so all of these certifications help you develop tips and tricks and mindsets, like Agile, the mindset to be able to maneuver in a fluid manner. And I don't know, Aaron, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think Mayor was asking about, will it be as recognizable in the market as the CBAP? So I think given time, just like even now, the CBAP is not as recognizable as the PMP is for project managers. Yeah, but the PMP has been there for 40 years longer than the CBAP has been. The AAC will gain its recognition. It is right now the second or third. I know CBAP is the largest or the fastest growing certifications. IIBA is giving out more of those than any of the others. ECBA and AAC is right behind them. So AAC is growing. There's many people that are getting it. It has a different perspective than all of those. It's strictly business analysis in an Agile context. And that where many of the others, I have the CSPO, the Certified Scrum Product Owner from Scrum Alliance, or the Certified Scrum Master. The Professional Scrum Master and Professional Scrum Product Owner are from scrum.org. IC Agile is out there. There's many of those out there, like that and everything. And it's really just going to be those that want to operate as business analysts within that Agile context that are going to be interested in the AAC. But it is going to grow. It's going to be recognized. And I think someday employers are going to look for that certification. They may, I see job postings out there all the time now requiring the CBAP or asking for it. They may, if it's an Agile organization, they may AAC right there next to it as a request. So I got a question there and it scrolled up on me. What'd she say? Oh, there was Ann. I think I have worked in software development, utilized Waterfall methodology 15 plus years. I'm having a hard time envisioning what my role would look like in an Agile world. What was the most difficult adjustment you had to make in transitioning from Waterfall to Agile?
For me, the most difficult part was convincing the stakeholders that they could have comfort in that they didn't have to have a full design from every single aspect of every single requirement bolted down at the onset of the project. And a lot of times, you're doing your requirements and your solution design where there would be a little bit of iterations and some other things, so that way they could give the premise and give as much as you were going to do on that particular project, but know that by following processes and mindset that they would get what they wanted, and maybe a little bit quicker, and maybe a little bit more of what they wanted with a little bit more ease. And so I think having assurance in yourself that you can get there, whether it be Waterfall or whether it be Agile, I think that was the hardest part, just convincing people that we're Waterfall and that's all they've ever done, that it's okay, it works, and we will get there. So it's just that confidence building. Yeah. And for me, I'm not gonna lie, being able to iterate quicker and deliver quicker, and to be able to have that flexibility in the documentation where it isn't so rigid is lovely. I mean, I'm working on a project that is Waterfall, that they're still working on requirements months and months and months. And on my Agile project, I'm already 2 releases in of delivery. So it's what people are comfortable with. But I think that was the hardest part, convincing people it's okay to do Agile.
What if the person that you have to convince is yourself?
Yeah, sometimes it is. Yeah, it's that confidence, like, okay, I don't want to fail. This is on me. Can I do it? And the answer is yes, because if you can do Waterfall, you can certainly do Agile. Just prep and learn, you know what I mean? And just change the thought processes. And you can do them simultaneously. Like I said, I do projects right now in Waterfall and in Agile at the same time.
Okay. Retta is asking, how do demos after a sprint help people accept it?
Ah, perfect. That's a great question. It almost sounds like Retta wants to answer it. Retta, do you want to answer your own question?
Well, sorry, my dog's talking. I found, from my perspective, that the demos, when they could see it faster,
Yes.
and they could get their answers faster and adjustments faster, that the product owner accepted it much faster, right? And they got more excited about it. And then it was hard at times to slow them down.
Yes, I have that actually right now. I have a project, the one that I was talking about in Agile, that I did a minimal viable product. Like, what's the bare minimum that we can deliver to you for you to even understand where we're going with this, right? They conceptually understood it. You give them all these mock-ups and they agreed to the requirements, but just that piece of it. And then we delivered it, and then we delivered it to leadership. Like, hey, this is what we rolled out, minimum viable product. It was like, okay, instead of going from like 2 phases, now they're thinking ahead to phase 4. Like, okay, I mean, just them seeing that demo and understanding, like, oh, they're, where they could try to tell me the requirements, and we could have spent months and months and months working on it. With that demo and with showing them a few things, it really does trip them. And also too, I mean, I'm going to fail faster, right? because I gave them something, and if they really hate it and we really didn't as a team interpret it correctly, we're going to know sooner than later.
Absolutely. And
One last take on that is they can actually, it inspires them to think outside the box faster too. That's one of the things that I love about it.
yeah. And in that also, don't forget to use that demo as a feedback loop.
Yep.
You know, get feedback. How much do they like? Do they want other features or that kind of thing? So it's not just how much they like it or hate it or that, but also, you know, get their feedback in that. So I was actually in a demo that we did quite a while ago in that, where we put out a whole new dashboard for our agents and everything. And we have a committee of agents, about 15 of them, I think. And we rolled it out to them first, and we did a demo, you know, and they had access to the dashboard. It was all view only. They couldn't do anything on it. It was just for them to see data they never could see before. And when we got into that demo, we showed them it, and that one of the ladies said, my accountant came into my office and said he wanted to give me a hug for this new dashboard and everything. So when you get a comment like that, that
so nice.
That much, that's good feedback to get.
Right. So I hopefully we were able to answer that question on the adjustment. I think it's confidence and know that it does work, but you have to feel good about it, and you can still, you know, you can work your way into it.
So what is an example of failing fast in Agile?
Well, you can, for instance, you elicit a bunch of requirements or minimal requirements of understanding what people want, and people say, yes, that sounds really good, but they, having not used it or having not experienced what it means, in their mind, they're saying it's one thing, and they think they're getting another, or they perceive that that's what they want. You give them that demo or a taste of it, and they're like, that really isn't, A, it doesn't work because we don't really work that way. We think we do, but we really don't. Or B, it's you know, this will never work. We're never going to be able to get there. And instead of spending months and months and months working on something that you deliver, that they have that realization, you're bringing that forward in the lifespan of it, whether it's a demo, a proof of concept, or whatever it is that you're showing them it, and they can get better insights as to what they're asking. Or a lot of times it's what they're not asking, because they don't realize that they wanted something until they see it, and then they have that train of thought.
Yes. And the small iterations and that, getting feedback after every iteration. In Waterfall, you would have delivered the entire product at the end, and then one big feedback as to, yeah, it's good, or no, it's not.
Right.
When you're doing it in iterations that Agile calls for, you give them a few features, and do they like that? Do they not? What's the next feature? What's the highest priority? What's going to deliver the most value? Those we work on next, and that we deliver those. Do they like them? And that, and especially when you're first designing a new system or something, and you could do a prototype, a mock-up, or what, and show that to your stakeholders and that, and they can move things around on it. No, I want the button over here. I want it to say this, all that kind of thing. So you could get that feedback even before you start development.
Right. And another part too is, I mean, we have a, you know, ever-changing world, right? And so it also allows, when you have your backlog or your things on there for leaders, when you're using Agile, also to bring things forward that at the time that they're making a decision, what's a priority, it may not have been, but something has changed within the marketplace or the environment, or whatever direction that they're going. And, you know, a lot of times there's also leadership changes, right? So one person's vision of what you're trying to deliver isn't maybe the next person's vision. So you also have a chance to stop that, refocus, make your efforts in a different direction to be reflective of it. I mean, both work. I mean, obviously as a world, we function in both ways and other ways of development, but hopefully that explained the failing fast.
Good, I think it did. And we are out of time. Thank you all for being here. really appreciate it. We will have more BAs on the street coming up and everything. We hope you will join us again for those. And as I said earlier, Stephanie and I are cooking up a new type of event. I'll give you a little hint. That's a lot of water behind her in the thing. So you'll see that coming up in June. You'll know what it is when you see it. Thank you again for being here. Have a great rest of your day and the rest of your week. Appreciate you being here. Come join us next Wednesday for our annual general meeting. Here, Elizabeth and Rich Larson talk about BA skills you will need. And we will see you at future events. So thank you very much.
And thank you for the
Great job,
opportunity.
Stephanie.
Thank you so much.
It's much easier being on the asking piece other than the answering of the questions. Just gonna put it out there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Are we done recording?
Yes, we are.